Welcome back, everyone, to another Stock Market Open Live. Today, we get to look at, let's see, morning time here. We got Pepsi coming in with earnings, as well as Philip Morris, and later in the day, obviously, we'll get Visa, Tesla, Novartis. We'll get some others, but we also get Sherwin-Williams. So let's take a peek just to see what's going on a little bit here with the consumer in the AM. And we also get, that won't come out until, let's see, we'll get the Philly Fed. Philly Fed non-manufacturing activity comes in at negative 12.4. Prior read was negative 18.3. That one's pretty volatile, though, so let's see here what we got for some of the earnings. Sherwin-Williams. Let's see. All right, Sherwin-Williams falls as a result of shares disappointing. Oh, okay. That's not great. So Sherwin-Williams comes down, a little bit of a miss here. Looks like you've got Q1 net sales of $5.37 billion, and the expectation was $5.51. So let's take a look at that. Sherwin-Williams here. Sherwin-Williams down about 3.8% in the pre-market as a result of a little bit of an oopsies on earnings. Let's see if they give any kind of forecast on their future here. We've got Sherwin-Williams sees Q2 sales flat to up low single digits, and then again their Q1 misses and their fiscal year adjusted EPS misses as well. So a little bit of a miss on that guide there. That was one of the sort of concerns we might have with the consumer. Is that we're just going to have expectations that are just too high. So let's see here, Sherwin-Williams. So let's write that down. Okay, so we've got sales at $5.37 billion versus a $5.51 expected. So miss. And then the adjusted EPS for the year. Adjusted EPS for fiscal year is, let's see, that was expected to be, where is it? Here it is. Yeah, okay. Fiscal year, actually, oh no, I have fiscal year adjusted EPS. Okay. Adjusted EPS for the fiscal year. Yeah, here we go. Okay, midpoint here would be, let's see, that'd be 25 cents, so that'd be about 11.10, and the prior midpoint was 11.45. 11.10 at midpoint versus 11.45 expected. So bit of a miss there. Again, Q2 flat to low single digits. Q2 flat to low single digits. So hence the stock down 3.8%. Now, as we go into the day, we are seeing AI continue its recovery. Yesterday, I was watching these very closely. There were two trading lines we just kept hitting yesterday. And if you go, let's see here, hour chart might be a little too much. But yeah, we really, once we broke 780, the next stop was 796, 795-ish, right around there. And oops, now we seem to be dancing right on top of that. Oops, now I messed it up. But that's okay, I'll put it right back to where it was. So this was sitting right about here, the top of those candles, but not the wicks. So this is where we had, especially if you got down to the 5-minute or the minute, you'd really see a lot of movement there. So I'd be curious to see if we maintain this bounce over that 796 as we go into the open today. This morning, Bitcoin does seem like it's a little soft. You did get up to about 67,000 just over the last maybe 12 hours here, and then you did start falling off of that. All of the morning hours, you've kind of been rotating down off of 67. So watching good old Bitcoin. All right, so that's what we got for Sherwin-Williams. A little bit on the Qs there. What do we got here? Affirm Holdings down 5.5% pre-market. My. We got an update yesterday. Okay. Point of sale consumer loans $634 million. So that there must be a miss in some of the pre-guidance they're giving here. Let me see if they have an investor relations piece arguing what the heck's going on. Let's find out. News releases. No, not from the 22nd. So that's very interesting. So it looks like some of these sales. Oh, here we go. Oh, CEO Fireside Chat. Okay. So, Fireside Chat with Wells Fargo. Sales or volume. Let's see if I can type in million. Million. Here's, yeah, a little bit of info. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's last quarter. If you look at the last quarter, we had a $172 million of GAAP operating loss. $134 million were associated with enterprise warrants. Okay, so a little bit of a heads up here of a little bit of a loss, but then again, they've always been losing. Maybe they're just getting a little closer to profitability. So I'm not sure why they're falling. But let's see here. Yeah, see, their operating losses have been negative forever. You can see that here. And okay, yeah, so their operating loss would be basically flat with December. But their revenue seems like it'd be higher. So I'm surprised that this stock is indicating down so much. Let me see here. If they had 591 last time, and now they're releasing that they had 634, seems like 5% growth in a quarter. It seems pretty good. But then again, maybe that's the problem. See, look at this. It looked like, well, but then again, that was the Christmas quarter. So, what were you? Yeah, last Q1 you actually fell from the Christmas quarter. I'm not sure. It's because Walmart. Okay, there it is. Walmart now has BNPL. Oh, really? Is that why? That's very interesting. Walmart has BNPL. Let me see here. Walmart BNPL. Walmart backed fintech. So it's not Walmart doing it. It's another fintech. Walmart's majority owned. Oh, but they majority own it. I see. Okay. Startup One has begun offering BNPL for big ticket items at the retailer. In direct competition with Affirm. Exclusive for customers since 2019. I see. Yes, that would make a lot of sense. How fascinating. Yeah. Boy, just the amount of companies coming into this. One BNPL. One Finance. Join the millions of customers through One. Credit Builder. I love how they advertise BNPL as building credit. Build credit the simple way. I mean, I get it, but yes, take on more debt so you too can build your credit. How interesting. Oh my gosh, you could pay back early with early pay. Oh my lord. No, this is probably actually like if you're on a W-2, you get your pay early. Yeah. 2 days in advance for paycheck data. I see. Wow. Okay, interesting. So the company's been based out of a WeWork? Who? One's push into lending is the clearest sign yet of its desire to become a super app. But the company, based out of a cramped Manhattan WeWork space, has operated mostly in stealth mode while developing its early products, including its debit account release in 2022. Now, One is going head-to-head with some of Walmart's existing partners like Affirm, who helped the retail giant generate $648 billion in revenue last year. How interesting. Yeah. easy it has been for some of these companies to come up with competing options, despite the massive money losing that just goes on here. Blows my mind. See, I mean, let's see here. Initially, Affirm's moat was thought to be their partnership with businesses. But then the reality is a lot of these businesses are just willing to partner with all of them. And so once that became clear, the moat for some of these businesses really evaporated quickly. And this is a perfect example of that. So let's look at a cash flow statement here. Balance sheet components. No, I want the actual sheets. Where are we? Come on. Okay. Let's try this. There we go. Okay, let's look here at Affirm's numbers. So Affirm's net loss for the 6 months. In 6 months, they burned $338 million. Wow. Oh yeah, there's that provision for credit losses as well. And stock comp actually went down. Cash provided by operating activities. Oh, they actually had some cash provided by operating activities. But then again, some of this could just be they sold more loans. So that gets a little confusing with this sort of company. But what I do think is interesting is after I covered the credit losses at the banks, I've noticed a lot of other YouTubers pick up on that story. Remember the story that JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America, and Wells, that their credit losses are up 70 to 100%. I've noticed a lot of other YouTubers picking up on that story, and I thought it was very interesting because it means it's certainly interesting. But I'm also glad to have found that in the earnings statements and not from somebody else's video. But it's I guess it's sort of like secretly flattering. Although YouTube doesn't work that way because people just copy your stuff and then they make their own video, which is okay. It's always been like that. You just have to kind of get used to that. But yeah. Now I'm seeing it here on the BNPLs, although not as much of a rise. In the 6 months ending, we're at 220 versus 170. So 220 versus 170. 29% in a year-over-year comp for Q4, or the second half rather. I wonder what Q1 to Q1 will look like. That would be very interesting. Yeah, we don't have Q1 yet. Anyway, all right. So that's a little bit on Affirm. Let's take a peek. Yeah, under 66K now on BTC. And Affirm now down 7%. So getting a little bit of a bleed here with that Walmart competition. Sherwin-Williams now down 4%. Okay, so let's write that down. Affirm and Walmart. Walmart backs a startup it majority owns called One to start providing BNPL in its stores for larger items. And that's, of course, well, oh yeah, and the firm's down, what, 7%? Oh, 7.7% in pre-market. We'll see how that moves. Okay, so next up, see, I think we have earnings from, find out here, earnings, we have Pepsi. Let's see how good old Pepsi is doing this morning. Pepsi. Okay. Ooh. So, organic revenue up 2.7 versus the 2.27 expected. Oh, they beat. All right. So, let's see here. Pepsi. Okay. So, we've got Q1 rev 2.7% up versus 2.27% expected. And their net revenue beat. Q1 rev, $18.25 billion. Wow. Could you imagine $18 billion of income from selling sugared water? That's crazy. I mean, I guess they do more than that too. They got Frito-Lay as well, right? Frito-Lay itself actually slightly missed. Frito-Lay, I didn't know they were hyphenated. 5.68 billion versus the 572 billion expected. That's very interesting. Okay, so I wonder how they're moving on that. Pepsi. So Pepsi's down about 26 bips, not a big deal. And then I do notice, we know AI is moving in the morning here, AMD, NVIDIA, and the others. But also look, Wingstop is up 2%. Still think that one's substantially overpriced, but I don't know. It seems to continue to hold on. Darn it. Not like I'm shorting it, but kind of wish I was. It's just so expensive. You know, shorting should be just as free as owning the stock. Make shorting great again. Yeah, well. Okay. So that's Pepsi. So then we have, GE. GE Aerospace. Let's see if we get a little bit from them. GE Aerospace. Let's see here. Operating profit. 6.4 midpoint. Yeah, that's probably, actually, that's at the higher end. Raises full year guidance. Total orders up 34% year over year. That's pretty good. These air manufacturers, yeah, see, it's pushing Embraer up as well, 2%. These folks just keep selling because of the supply shortages. It's remarkable. All right, what else? Oh, UPS. Yeah, let's see what UPS says. All right. UPS. Ooh, adjusted EPS beats. That's good. That's a big one for the consumer. But let's see if that's because headline beat or what. So we had revenue. See, headline missed. Q1 rev of 21.7 versus 21.83 billion expected. But they still were able to eke out that positive adjusted EPS, which stocks like that. 130 was the expectation. They had 143. And fiscal year revenue in line. Ooh. So CEO says average daily volume in US showed improvement and expects a return to volume and revenue growth. That's good. That's a good little indicator. I'd like to see some more from the earnings call, but that's great. That's great for the consumer. So Sherwin-Williams so far missed, but Pepsi and UPS are beating here. Positive for economy. Write that down. Okay, that is good. Then we have, Fiserv reported this morning as well. They're at most of your legacy checkout systems. So let's see. Yeah, I know LMT reported as well. I can pull them really quickly. So Lockheed, adjusted EPS 633 versus 578. Backlog up 9.8%. Reiterating 2024 outlook. Doesn't surprise me with how much military spending there's going on. Yeah, they're only up 1%. But for Lockheed, you know, they kind of move slowly anyway. Fiserv actually beats. So that's good. Also good for the economy. So Fiserv comes in with 188 Q1 adjusted EPS versus the 179 expected. And then we have revenue, although revenue missed a little bit. Q1 rev, 4.54 versus 4.57. Billions. Billions. Okie dokie. Well, that's pretty good so far. So we'll see how that ends up translating over to Visa and Tesla later today. Those will be quite entertaining. I think entertainment is almost certainly guaranteed. Well, Tesla's expecting me to move 8.28% today. I think it's going to move a lot more than that, but it's all going to come down to what good old Elon says. Yeah. Let's go to Tesla here. Ooh, Tesla's actually green in the pre-market. I think they also mentioned, where was it? I saw something about Tesla, Germany, Berlin doing some kind of voluntary work reduction. Let me see here. Where was that? Tesla, Berlin. Oh, yeah, here. Tesla aims to cut 400 jobs in Germany via voluntary program. That's right here. Tesla on Tuesday says it was targeting to cut 400 jobs at its Giga Berlin. The currently weakening sales market for electric cars is also presenting Tesla with challenges, the company said in a statement. That's not good. Yeah, because, they were still in the scaling phase. It's always in the interest of our production to be as efficient as possible, the group said. Well, of course. They'd use temporary labor in the future instead. Interesting. Very interesting, Tesla. Oh, Tesla. What is going to happen today at earnings? Alright. Oh, yeah. Does Enphase report today, too? Let me see. When does Enphase report? I don't know if they report today. Let's see. I don't see them on this list. I will find out. Earnings. Enphase. Oh, yeah, they do. Ooh, Enphase has a 12% expected volatility. Wow. Now the question is, will the turnaround unfold? Yes. Let's see here. There's a note on this. So, Enphase inverter shipment could recover in second half. Or could recover in the second half. Yeah, we've heard that before. Enphase's inverter shipments may have fallen about 60% in Q1 versus a year earlier, though a turnaround may have started to unfold. Right, in April. Okay. Oh, no, I actually think up 20% from Q4. We believe a robust recovery could accelerate in the second half as inventory normalizes, with our scenario indicating a rebound outpacing SolarEdge. Let's see here. Given macro, gross margin may have remained above 45%, lifted by tax benefits. Yeah, we'll see. So, write that down. Yeah, I sold Enphase around 130, and I'm ready to hop back in once we get some turn in rates here. The stinker's at 110 right now. So, let's see what happens. Write this down. Okie dokie. So, that's Enphase. And then obviously Tesla later. Okie dokie. So, what's next? Well, next, let's see. Let's take a look at the pre-market. So, pre-market here. Ooh, and take a look at yesterday, too. So, yesterday we had volatility down. Verizon ended up down 4.6. What else? There's BTC. Etsy. A lot of these aren't even moving. What do we got here? ARM. Yeah, ARM had a great day yesterday. 6.7. Nvidia was up 4. ASML 146. Amazon 149. What's Amazon now? Amazon's at 177. Interesting. Whole $10 lower than where it was. How about our Qs? Qs were up yesterday about 1%. Up in pre-market about 39 bips. This is sort of what we look like right now. Sitting around that 100-day moving average right now is sitting at 422. And in pre-market, we're going to be about 420.49. So looks like we're going to be knocking on that 422 100-day moving average on the Qs, trying to get a little rebound there to prevent us from going from that to that 406 level. Though I think obviously earnings will either push us up through or right back down. So let's see. All right. Keep in mind today we are beginning the roadshow for House Hack. Investments by wire only, please. No ACH into House Hacker due May 1st. We are closing the round. And we can just focus on working. So that'll be a lot sooner than expected, but got plenty of notice here. That's about 8 days from now, which means our 8-day roadshow begins. So if you want to meet me in person and talk House Hack, just go to househack.com/2024, and you'll see the little link there at the top for the roadshow. All right. That will be very fun. Okay. So, pre-market. Sherwin-Williams still rotating down as well as a firm. Dave & Buster's has just been on a little bit of a bleed. Yeah, ever since earnings. Right after earnings, they popped and they've just been on a bleed. Matterport down to 470 after its merger talk with CoStar yesterday. AMC actually ended up running 8% yesterday. I was watching this. Out of nowhere, you just got excitement for this one. And then most of the day, you were pretty chill. See, if you bought it running into the trend, you would have just hung out into the consolidation. So, this is a pretty strong move there. You could actually kind of see AMC slowly waking up. Not really. You'd have to go like that. There you go. Alrighty. Let's see. What are the suities saying today? Let's find out. Nothing. They're on ads. Come on. Nope. Nope. Fine then. Fine then. Ugh. More ads. Oh, here we go. Becky.
Back, everybody. The Magnificent Seven getting set to report quarterly results. Joining us with what he's watching from a few key names is Dan Romanoff, Senior Equity Research Analyst at Morningstar.
Look at that guy in the background. That's funny.
Tell me what you think is most interesting about those names that are set to report.
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me. So, yeah, I think there's across the board, whether it's semiconductors or even internet, obviously software, we see a lot of interest in AI. So I think all eyes are going to be on whatever AI discussion happens and any commentary around pricing or volumes or growth related to AI.
Okay, tell us something we didn't already expect.
600 basis points of Azure growth last quarter were from AI. Are we going to get some sort of update to that, some sort of additional data point? I think that'll be really interesting. Intel, there's a lot of AI excitement about possible GPU accelerators with Gaudi. So that's interesting. People will be watching that. And even at Google, where you saw sort of a bit of a flop with Gemini, I think investors are going to be waiting to hear if anything interesting is happening on the new model release and, sort of how they recover from that. I don't know. Those are some high-level thoughts.
Yeah, that's great. Dan, thank you. We're out of time, but thanks for joining us.
You're too boring, sir. So we're just going to cut you off. Well, in fairness, they are on that 6 o'clock, and that creepy guy's gone. Okay, so we also saw GM. GM's expecting adjusted EPS for the year. So this is going to be fiscal year. Adjusted EPS forecast is expected to be $9.50 at the midpoint, and their prior midpoint was 9. So you actually had a beat at GM. So at midpoint. So that's their fiscal year EPS forecast, as well as their EPS coming in at 262 versus the 212 expected. You've got automotive free cash flow coming in, expected to come in higher than expected. International comes in with an EBIT loss of $10 million, but North America comes in with EBIT, big beat, EBIT North America. That would be $384 billion versus the $302 billion expected. So GM actually did well here. Let's take a peek here. Yeah, look at that. Generale Motors up 4.85%. Very nice. So, this one's been trading somewhat sideways since 2022, but now you're getting a nice beat over here. See if you can break out of that 45 level. And good job, GM. That might actually be picking up Tesla a little bit. So, GM, I wonder how they've performed over the last year. Yeah, they're up about 26% over the last year. Good for them. Good job, GM. Very nice. Okay, so next. Let's see here. Google announcing our commitment to safety by design, generative AI principles. Okie dokie. Ooh, Tesla rising in the pre-market before earnings. So a little bit of a rally here before earnings, 70 bips. All right, let's listen in here.
All right, they don't have to worry. Jonas. Okay, let's talk about Jonas. Jonas said what's bad for Tesla is good for Ford and GM. So let's give him his due.
Okay, well, it is proving good. At least we'll see how the stock opens. But right now, it's looking up almost as much as 5%. Again, on the numbers, and you pointed out yesterday the buyback, which is not insignificant.
And
of course,
Ford better do a buyback because Ford is just languishing with all this Bill Ford pays dividend. Carl, I don't want a dividend. Well, it's not, maybe you got a good dividend, but I really want a buyback. Look at how much she sopped up. She's very strong.
Great stat out of Bespoke this morning. In terms of, they call it a triple play, meaning you beat on the top line, beat on the bottom line, and raise. GM's done it 5 to 6 quarters.
Well, I mean, maybe because she's not having an existential crisis, we don't care.
The multiple always is interesting to me.
Well, you mean the lowest in the S&P other than the financials?
Yeah, just talk us through that, Jim. Why? I mean, it's always been the case, or certainly for a very long period of time, this thing just does not get a serious multiple. You're talking about a company that's going to have adjusted automotive free cash flow of a range now of $8.5 to $10.5 billion. Let's say they get to towards the top of that range. Talking about starting the day at least with a $50 billion market cap, so 5 times adjusted automotive free cash flow.
David, if you felt that the world was going toward ICE and away from ICE and toward EV, if you thought the state of California was going to just end ICE, which a lot of people think it might do, then what do you do with that company? That company is an ICE-oriented company.
Understood, but I mean, at this rate, in 5 years, they could buy back the entire company with their free cash flow.
Look, I think the stock is ridiculously undervalued, and Ford is one of my largest positions for the charitable trust. I agree with you. See, I think the answer, David, is that it's wrong.
Okay.
I mean, no, listen to me. We have a lot of stocks that are misvalued here. Look, if it's enterprise software, Carl, it can sell at 40 times sales. But if it makes something that people think is going to be obviated by events, not unlike what people feel about refineries. And people feel we're not going to have refineries, so the refineries sell at a ridiculously low multiple. Meanwhile, you have MRO buying back every single share. So the answer is that you do exactly what Mary is doing, and you do exactly what Marathon Oil is doing, and then you come up with a low multiple where you buy every single share, and you have a stock that makes you a lot of money. Versus Tesla, which was doing well, but is not. I mean, you know, you can flip a switch.
Implied volatility for Tesla tonight, I think, is the highest in about a year and a half, right? About 9% either way.
Well, look, if he has any free,
No.
then I think that the bear's going to have to eat some crow. The bears like crow. I don't know.
You think at this level the stock is discounting what, a lot of the
I think
potential
there's-
bad news?
I think
Jim?
that there's two situations. I think that this is starting to, yes, if they have free cash flow that's positive, too much, it's bad news that everybody knows. And if Apple does 19% decline in China, it's like enough. I mean, what everybody thinks is, well,
Yeah, just to clarify that. The implied volatility is 8.28%. And I'm not trying to, like, mince words here. The average of the last, like, 8 earnings seasons was an implied volatility of 8.94, so nearly 9%. But the current implied is actually lower than what it historically has been. Yeah, you're actually pretty cheap on volatility right now for Tesla, mostly because it's just been like a straight bleed.
narrative that Apple must adopt is that if you look at Indonesia and Brazil and Turkey and India and Mexico and Vietnam, you've got growth markets that will overtake China. But we are fixated on China because a lot of people, obviously, but the Chinese economy is not growing. The Chinese populace is not growing. India does not have the infrastructure to support 400 stores yet. But David, I think that if you're going to be levered to India, I think you have the edge over country people that are levered to China.
All of which is to say, this news does not shake you.
I think I've been saying the
terms of
stock goes to
your-
160 for ages, and it's still not there yet. And it's going to get there. And then when it gets there, we're going to rethink it. But, you know, look, if you want to put a 19 multiple on it and you want to give it a haircut of what it might earn, you have a $135 stock. Do you think that it's a $6. Do you think that the analysts and the big institutions won't come in and buy the stock at 130, where it would be valued at a market multiple on an estimate cut of about 7%, which is what people are implying?
Okay, but that doesn't
130.
sound like a reason to buy the stock here.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying buy here.
No, I know
I'm
you're
saying
All
that
right, arguments over Apple. So worth noting that oil is actually down a chunk here under the under some of its latest, like the 50-day moving average. You're at $86. You're down off this $90 peak you've been sitting at for a while. It's, you know, you could take a look at it here. It's nice to kind of see it come down a little bit as oil is brushing off some of that Middle East nonsense. But yeah, this is a good thing because we don't want to see this continue to stay high for too long. It'll really hurt in terms of the potential pass-through to inflation. Let's look at bonds. Bonds, 4.65 basically on the 10-year here. And if you go to the 2-year, you're looking at 2-year U.S. Treasury is at 4.99. So the difference between the two, we are at 35-ish basis points. So pretty much the same level of inversion we've been at for a while. Nothing new. Nothing new with the inversion. The inversion continues.
Real slow. So we think that Treasuries at the back end of the curve certainly could cheapen a little bit further. We think about the best, let's say, practitioners or tradable measure of term premia as being longer-term swap spreads. So the difference between where a Treasury cash instrument is trading in relation to SOFR swap. And we think that that is a better measure of term premia than any model, let's say, that the Fed or anyone else has for term premia. And so it wouldn't surprise us to see that cheapen a little bit more. But in terms of what could cause back-end rates to continue to rise further, it's less we think about term premia. That's maybe a marginal story. But it's more about the outlook for inflation and subsequently the outlook for the possibility of Fed cuts and the low but increasing possibility of Fed hikes. That we think is the more important driver of the back end of the curve. So again, we do think that treasuries are going to cheapen a little bit. You need auction concessions in order to bring in demand. You're going to probably see that this week. Maybe that's why rates have been selling off over the last few days. But we do think that if inflation starts to settle down, if you do start to see the economy moderate further, then we think that a lot of those concerns about term premium will be put somewhat at bay.
Ooh. Couple things worth touching on. So number one is Tesla's insured units. Here, over time, you could somewhat see the fluctuations that we've gotten in different weeks. Obviously here in February, you had some weak numbers. But some of these April figures just now coming in, 6,000 here for April versus the 1907 last week, or the week before rather, given that we're technically right here. And you can see it's quite a bit rougher than March, but somewhat similar to what we saw in February here. So we'll see how this expands for insured units in China. Another thing that I thought was really interesting, and I don't think this is the best thing to do, especially when vehicle deliveries decline, but I want to see your all's opinion on this. So you'll have to pay attention for a second. So not that you're not paying attention, but it might take a little more focus. So what I did is I wrote down Tesla's total revenue, which obviously this total revenue would include solar, energy, cars, FSD, everything, right? So everything's in here. And dividing their total revenue by how many deliveries they have. Now that's an imperfect, metric because we have different levels of service or maybe charging, although I don't really expect to have seen a big move in charging since most of the networks don't really open up, the other charging networks don't really open up, or the other vehicles don't really open up to the Tesla charging network for a little bit longer. And you would expect if you have some form of stable sort of movement in solar or service in line roughly with deliveries, maybe this would be a metric to look at. So this was just sort of a quick little number I threw together, and I wanted to see what the trend was. So the trend was that you had deliveries up at the top, revenues here, and then you had about total revenue per vehicle of about 60,000. Keep in mind this is billions, but I wrote it as million. So 60,000 when you divide the two. That goes down, and that's Q4 22. That goes down to 55 in Q1 23, down to 53 in Q2 23, down to 53 in Q3 23, so somewhat stable, down to about 52 in Q4. Okay, got it. So the trend is clearly you're going from about 60 to about 52. So you would expect the current number to be like 52, maybe 51, maybe a little bit more like 52.5, right? Well, excuse me, that's not what you got. With these lower deliveries, you actually got 57, which is out of trend. Not great. Now, again, one of the things that could cause that would be having lower deliveries, but still just as many revenues potentially from other sources like solar, solar roof, batteries, whatever. If they all move down together, then then this number should be down at somewhere around the 51.9-ish level. And I compared that then to Troy's estimate for Q2. His revenue estimate is only 20.7. And so the reason I did this is this is Wall Street's estimate for revenue today for Tesla, and this seems abnormally high on a per car basis. This seems odd. Oddly high, which means that Q1 2024 revenue forecast might be a little high. Troy's revenue forecast is 20.7, which, see, that's in line. That's in line with what I would expect, something around 53. So I think there's a risk that Tesla's revenue is very high at 22.3 in terms of Wall Street forecast, which makes it a little bit easier potentially to miss. So not great, but I wanted to share that and sort of see what everybody's thought was on that. So if you have a comment on that, I know it's a little imperfect in a quarter where you have such declining deliveries, but it did seem a little odd.
Big beat, and they also boosted guidance as truck sales overshadow weakness in China. More on this.
Oh, yeah, we also had JetBlue report. JetBlue Q1 revenue comes in at 2.21 versus 2.2 billion, so a tiny little beat. But the problem is they saw fiscal year revenue as flat, and instead fiscal year revenue is now being guided as being down low single digits. Pretty wild. Does this confirm BNPL has become a commodity? Probably, honestly. Probably. Mick says interesting. Sender says big miss. Somebody else says short. I'm sure Elon will surprise us on the positive way. He's too quiet. Well, I mean, they're in a blackout period, right? So there's a limit to how much they should be saying so he doesn't get in trouble with the SEC. But, yeah, I mean, it's not going to take much for Elon to say something very, very optimistic, depending on how new it is. You know, if he says the same thing, like, you know, one day Tesla will be worth more than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined, it's probably not going to do anything. Let's see here. Elon needs to say that FSD is selling at these crazy prices. That's not going to happen. Let me crush that right now for you. You're giving free trials to everyone. So how could you expect to get any sales when everybody's in free trial? I don't think that's going to happen because, you know, the 60-day free trial started, what, like 3 weeks ago? How are you possibly going to recognize if you're selling any of them? I don't see that. Yep, we saw that regarding the layoff of the 40-person growth team. Elon will make Tesla great again. Someone says, I think Elon will surprise. Will we play bingo later? Of course. What do you think about buying a huge number of NVIDIA chips and negative free cash flow? Yeah, well, that would be my concern. But, I mean, we got cash flow numbers last quarter, and we weren't negative. You know, we were still positive free cash flow, and they had been buying the chips. So I don't know that there was like a big buy in the last quarter that's definitely going to screw them. I mean, we could look at their last annual report, too. Let's do that right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a risk that they're going to have to go, like, my bigger concern would be the CapEx forecast. So if they're like, yeah, so all the chips we have are already old and we need to get the newest chips, well, that would suck. Oh, I don't want the schedules. I just want the statements. Okay. Here we go. Cash flow. So their free cash flow last year was about $4.3 billion. So their free cash flow is about $1 billion a quarter. So that's pretty good. You know, if I go to last quarter, statement of cash flows for the fourth quarter, we had, here it is, CapEx 4.3. Yeah, you had a couple billion last quarter of cash flow. So I don't know that the chips numbers are really making that big of a dent, but it's the forecast of the chip numbers that could. What do we have here?
I think it's worth a try, and we'll see
I remember
We'll
this.
see how effective.
Do you have it?
Tesla CEO Elon Musk, that was, of course, our interview from last May, talking about the company's at least possible foray into advertising, because it was something he had mentioned at the annual meeting, which directly preceded our interview.
No, revenue won't go up because of the layoffs. And remember, the layoffs happened in Q2. We're reporting Q1 earnings. And layoffs will affect your bottom line, not your top line. If anything, they could hurt your top line. So let's see. Elon will announce the cheaper Model Y. Well, see, but generally he doesn't do announcements on earnings calls. Would the factory fire a couple of months ago affect revenue for this quarter? I mean, not really, because that's already factored into the deliveries, right? But production wasn't really heavily affected. We had, what, 440,000 vehicles produced and 387,000 delivered. My wife is bad of a driver to get FSD free trial. She gets warnings all the time. Oh. We kind of got to get used to doing it. Are you still doing the market open live and course live during the upcoming roadshow? At least this week, yeah. I don't actually. Well, I should be here every morning. I think so. I think where it gets a little dicey is going to be next week. Maybe Monday might be an issue. But other than that, I should be able to be live every day. I don't see a problem. So, oh yeah, numbers. Yeah, we get, I think we get S&P today. Let me see. So, yeah, we get PMIs at 6:45, so about 15 minutes after the bell. Yeah, they did still pay for the cars produced. Yeah, but that wouldn't be revenue. Musk, let's see here. I don't think you're going to go to zero margin. People are concerned about getting below 15%. That's going to be the issue. Well, yeah, layoffs will help Q2. There's no doubt about that on bottom line. The issue with layoffs at a manufacturing company is the implication that growth is gone. That's the oopsies.
Look, I think that, I honestly, I think everyone in Detroit would like to go somewhere else now, but they're deeply committed to Detroit, and they're never going to do that because that's the home. But if Toyota passes Tesla, can you imagine?
Well, and then you got the UAW piece on CNN today, looking at the victory in Volkswagen, where that's going to lead, what it's doing to the labor market in the South, Southern manufacturing.
Look, you're going to see a boom in Mexico like you would believe. Because Mexico is where you can make it. You don't have pollution control laws. You make $5 an hour. The transportation, you just go right up, KSU. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I don't think people understand that. I don't think the unions understand that. I mean, look, Trump didn't like it. Biden,
Yeah, the other cars aren't available to hook onto the superchargers yet. I think most of the other vehicles open up later this year or the beginning of 2025. So it's going to be a minute before you start seeing some of the other vehicles show up. But I'll tell you, Tesla owners are going to be pissed when all of a sudden you come up to the Tesla superchargers and there are a row of Fords taking all the spots. People are going to be pissed. People are going to revolt.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. They're not aware, meaning they got to be able to say, look, now if you have 25% Mexico, no, we're going to give you a tariff.
Kramer's Mad Dash in the opening bell after a break.
I will change the channel then.
As we have TikTok angst. And if I look at Meta, I mean, it's just way, way ahead on Reels. 200 billion views on Reels, and Alphabet has YouTube. Is TikTok's prevarication about TikTok the opportunity, the ultimate opportunity for Meta and Alphabet?
It certainly is an opportunity for Meta, probably bigger for Meta than Alphabet, just because, while YouTube Shorts has certainly done decently well and people spend a crazy amount of time watching YouTube, it doesn't monetize YouTube as much. Alphabet doesn't. But when you look at Meta, yes, I think that when creators get worried that their livelihoods are going away, when brands who depend on TikTok to get their revenue see that, hey, it might go away, they have to be pragmatic and say, where else can I go? grow. And the reality right now is that that's primarily going to be Instagram and Reels, their short form video product. And so I think that we will continue to see a flight to that relative safety. I think we'll also see companies, new startups, try to come up with entirely new companies that sort of ride the wave of, hey, what are people going to do with all their free time if TikTok's For You page is gone in the US? But thus far, I'm not seeing a lot of investors really lean into that thesis, in part because it didn't work really the last time around when TikTok was set to be banned.
Sarah, thank you so much. Let's see what those numbers are from Tesla a little bit later on.
Always talk about this TikTok ban. Oh, it's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. Even if it gets banned, they'll just change the ownership structure to fit into the whatever law they want, and it'll be fine. Anyway, Tesla up 1% going into earnings here. 140 thrizzles. You've got BT Sizzles at 66.1. Affirm still down about 7.7 here. So what are we going to watch for trades today? All right, let's see here. Well, we know there's an ARB opportunity on Matterport between 471 and 550 if you think that deal is going to go through. I actually think it will. You've got Sunrun, Embraer. Oh, did Embraer just go negative? Yeah, look at that. Embraer went negative. That's a little surprising. After that GE Aerospace deal. You've got Trump still sitting at 35. That number seems to be strong. Strong. Then we've got AMD. Didn't quite get down to that 140 level there. Nvidia is bobbing around the 805. Walmart's up again. You know, Mike Wilson over at Morgan Stanley really is liking the Walmart. Coinbase bobbing around the 223, 224 level. ARM's up 4%. JP Morgan. Lots of green today. You really just have earnings that could screw it up this week. So we'll see. I will say, though, so far, not horrible. Like this morning, UPS beat, Pepsi beat, Fiserv beat, GM beat, JetBlue and Sherwin missed. They were little poopsie doops. And then it finally looks like cocoa futures are falling. Gosh, what a joke that run's been. Reminds me of like the lithium surge days. All right. So what else? Oh yeah, Katy Perry got her delivery for the Cybertruck. Now, I really wonder how much these folks got paid for this. Like, I don't see Katy Perry having gotten a Cybertruck herself, unless it was like, and then it's like, yes, then dress up like, you know, I don't know, whatever, and have some professional photos with your Cybertruck. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, here, we'll give you a Cybertruck and $5 million. Please take some professional photos, and we'll continue. And then you have to repost them 3 times on social or whatever, because they did the same thing with Kim Kardashian. And we don't know how much they were paid, but you know, there's your marketing. There's your marketing. Jeez, it's I don't know. Did anybody here have a Cybertruck order that they just didn't end up filling after they got invited? I really wanted that sucker to be 6 seats. That was the game changer when they had the bench seat in the front. I really wanted that. 5 seats, just not worthy of the upgrade. So anyway. All right, so we're getting close now. They'd have to disclose if they got paid, would they? Here, we'll give you a free Cybertruck if you post on Instagram. She's not selling anything. She's not pitching Tesla. All she's doing is posting a picture of her with the Tesla. FTC promotional way, social media. Let's see here. Let's see if you're right about that. Disclosures for social media. See, they have this beautiful little guide. Do you work with brands to recommend or endorse products? See, she's not recommending or endorsing the product. She's just taking a picture with it. Keep in mind that tags, likes, pins, and similar ways of showing you like a brand are endorsements. Now that could be, you could stretch that. That would be a big stretch. Wow, look at that. Tags, likes, pins are a way of showing you like the brand or endorsements. That's a stretch, FTC. Thanks for the free product. Yeah, see? I guess technically it should be posted as an ad. You might be right. All right. Let's get ready for El Bello. But yeah, then again, it's not uncommon for people not to follow those rules. So, who knows? All right. 10 seconds to go.
You gotta make sure they can actually execute.
I think he's an executioner.
Let's get to the opening bell here in the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board is Lithia Motors, an auto dealership at the NASDAQ medical device company QT Imaging Holdings.
I happen to like LAD very much. This is Lithia and Driveway. It's a very, very good company. The stock's been down. I think it's a kind of interesting one. It sells at 7 times earnings.
All right. Here we go. We've got the Qs showing off a red candlestick. Tesla's trying to figure out what direction to go. Enphase got a red candlestick going into earnings. GM's trying to red candle. What way are we going to go? Pepsi drops. Sherwin-Williams trying to recover. Tesla's really trying to push up above this 1% level here. Getting a little stuck here with the Qs. Kind of stuck in the mud as well. Sherwin-Williams drops to 4%. DJT up 2. Matterport 365. NVIDIA. Red candlesticks on NVIDIA. AMC's down 1. AMD up 2. CoStar LoopNet up 40 bips. Apple down again. Womp, womp, womp. Coinbase, bounces on 223 as usual. Now that's interesting because BTC is not actually really moving. So, see if I go to BT Sizzles, I guess it's up a couple $100 here, bouncing off that 62. Let me go down to the 1 minute chart here. Oh, that's way too messy. Okay, how about the 5 minute chart? There we go. All right. Tesla, yeah, some red candles now. Enphase, though, wants to run before earnings. And the Qs are pretty stable around that 0.5% right now. Let's see if they can hold on to that 0.5%. Trying to see what direction things are going to go today. Oh, there goes NVIDIA. Look at that. NVIDIA takes off. Here it goes. You're looking now. See, what's remarkable is if you sold NVIDIA Friday morning, you would have still sold NVIDIA around $840. So you'd still be up right now. That's crazy. That just shows you how intense that was. There we go. Here comes the green. Looks like you got a bullish day going in to the rest of the day here. You've got the Qs really trying to run here. GM's actually giving up a little bit. And Tesla's trying to find its direction. Enphase seems to be the one that wants to run. Probably going to go up to 113 over there. How the hell does a firm go positive? What? They were down 7% on the news of Walmart partnering with basically their own startup to do BNPL. And all of the dip is gone. Palantir, 2%. Tesla, dropping. Qs, rising. NVIDIA, up. Verizon, they had a little rough day yesterday. Good, they suck. I hate them. American Express, up another 68 bips. What's down? I don't think we have much down today. Where's the down? No, we got some down. About a page and a half down. Embraer's in there, Apple's in there, Coca-Cola, Delta after that JetBlue disaster. Where's JetBlue? JetBlue. I don't know, I like JetBlue. I like flying on them. 15%! Oh my lord! Holy smokes! This is the week chart for them. Yeah, wow. That's intense. Oh, Tesla just
lost the lead.
Wow, 15% on JetBlue. Holy moly. And then, okay, Qs are trying to turn red here as well. In well, I mean, red candlesticking. Still got some room. Whoa, NVIDIA just gave up. The first 15 minutes are infreaking possible to find a trend. Because you just never know which way it's going to go. Oh my gosh. Kevin secretly buying the dip on Tesla? Nope. Not yet. My life would just be much easier if I could just be a bull. If I could just believe that it was okay to be all in bullish and there were no worries about recession or joblessness or correction. There would be so much less stress. Somebody donated $5. His name is Oof, which sounds like it's from Roblox. What would need to happen for you to invest back into Tesla? I think the clearest answer to that is you need to see EPS growth actually growing again, and then we need to know where we're going to stabilize with that EPS growth. Because then we can assign PEG ratios, we can do valuations, we can do our DCFs. If we have no guidance on whether EPS is just going to keep going down or if it's going to grow, you can't really value it. So we need to have an upward trajectory. And once we have that upward trajectory, then we should buy Tesla. Not personalized advice. That's just sort of broad commentary. See, I think, obviously, I mean, when rate cuts come or whatever, that's going to be a phenomenal time for Tesla. But you want to start seeing some earnings growth before that, ideally. That's really the time to get in my opinion. We'll see. We'll see when that is. I mean, obviously, I don't expect we're going to get, earnings growth this quarter. This quarter is going to be a disaster. Earnings growth is going to collapse. But that's okay because what will matter is the forecast. Are they actually going to give us a frickin' flapping forecast so we actually have some expectations of what the hell's going on? Given that, we just saw price cuts again and we're seeing job cuts now, voluntary job cuts in Giga Berlin, probably not. Right now, we have quarter-over-quarter growth that's expected to come in at negative 4.4%. But that's Wall Street's expectation. I actually think it's probably going to come in lower than that. I agree with Troy. I think we're going to get a number that's going to be closer to that 20 million figure. And if you got 20 mil divided by 25, yeah, you'd be down 20%. So, we'll see in terms of actual EPS. So we shall see. We shall see. Yeah, Tesla lost its PP. That's really unfortunate. It shrunk and shriveled up. It's all that pricing power. Von Mises warned us about this. NVIDIA bounces at 802, 803, 802. You had a nice little bounce there on NVIDIA. Pulls the Qs right back up. JetBlue wants to start rising after being down 15%. Oh, now that's interesting. So, I'll write that down. JetBlue trending up, eh? Okay. So, we've got JetBlue. Tesla's trending down. Interesting. Where are we going? Oh, next line's like 129. Okay. Yeah, firm goes down again. That makes sense because of Walmart. I mean, it was down 7% earlier. Wow, people are dumping out of Matterport. That's interesting. I don't think there's any particular news there. Nvidia 1.5, AMD's up a little. How is what was it? Cadence Design Systems. Cadence Design Systems. So their forecast wasn't great yesterday, and it was a little uncertain. And they're one of your, super microcomputer-esque companies. And so they're down about 3.3 right now. So I want to watch them as well. Although BTC seems to be trying to push up. Let's see here. Okay. Tesla stock is going the Boeing route. Ouch. What's this? TMF? TMF is interesting because if we don't raise rates anymore, does it make you wonder if TMF is at a bottom? Right? I mean, look at that. The bottom was 37.7. And so now you're sitting at 44. That downtrend, has gotten worse. But that would be interesting. If we don't raise rates again, it's possible you could be at a bottom on TMF. You're not wrong. Because, see, if rates just stay high for longer, TMF shouldn't go down more. Very interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, $7 billion rooftop solar program. This is really like a workforce enhancement program, trying to get people to learn how to install solar. It's it's fine with me. Spotify. Look at that, 14% on Spotify. I want to see what's going on. Spotify. All right, let's see here. Spotify. What do we have here? Okay. Ooh. It's trash day. I hear the trash truck. I like trash day. Get rid of all that crap. All right. So Spotify users actually misses 615 million monthly active users versus the estimate of 617.89 expected. Then you had Q2, they expect to miss as well, 631 mil monthly active users versus 637.06 expected for Q2. Q1. Okay. Gross margin. Ooh, gross margin beat though. Gross margin expected to be 28.1% versus 26.7% for Q2. So good for them. Then we had operating income beat and revenue beat a little bit. Rev Q1 3.64 billion euro versus 3.61 billion euro expected. So slight beat. Good for them. So that's a remarkable move though on the stock. 15% for this nominal beat. They must have had some bad expectations going in. Tesla's trying to recover. Bitcoin's going. Ooh, the Q's just popped. Yeah, Nvidia's up 2% right here. Let's listen in here for a moment. We're going to get PMIs in 2 minutes, by the way.
Election. So, people are looking at his decisions to try and figure out where he's going to come down, Jim.
Do you see numeral 5 here? The proposed acquisition will eliminate direct head-to-head competition. David, then it's all redacted. I think they've got a home run here.
There's so many redactions, and that does point to
the FTC.
It's tough to gauge what
I think the FTC has documents. I think they've got good
Yeah,
stuff.
the question is how many are really bad for the,
Well,
for the
you can't,
defendants.
look, I'm against head-to-head
Right.
competition combining because that's what happened with the airlines. Now, you can say, obviously, it's a fractured market, but this is a very well-reasoned brief. And
All right. Oh, look at that on Enphase. Oh my gosh. Folks, if you're not part of the Stocks and Psychology of Money group yet, where we draw these lines and talk TA and fundamental analysis every day after we do our Market Open Live, why are you not part of the group yet? As well as send buy-sell alerts when I see a trend like this. That's crazy. It's like a perfect rejection. Perfect. Let's see here. Oh yeah, somebody here says Roadshow. You coming to the Roadshow? Yeah, make sure you go to househack.com/2024. Sign up for the Roadshow. The Roadshow begins today. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be... Oh, we got PMIs coming out in a minute. Actually, 30 seconds. It's going to be 8 days straight of 23 different cities. 23 freaking cities in 8 days. It's going to be kooky. Oh, well. So, all right, what do we got? So, S&P, services, composite, and manufacturing. That all comes out within about 10 seconds. Again, go to househack.com/2024. All right, here we go. Okay, they all miss. So, manufacturing PMI comes in at 49.9. That's contraction versus 52 expected. Services comes in at 50.9. That misses from 52. And composite at 50.9 misses from 52. So all of those numbers missed. And I don't think the stock market gives a flying hoot. Given that, you know, that candlestick keeps growing higher rather than lower. Unless it's enthusiastic that maybe that you know, means rates aren't necessarily going to go higher. And it's actually dovish. Look at that. That thing keeps growing. How large is it going to get? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's way larger than expected. Holy, it just keeps going. So, yeah, you had a miss on PMIs. And you actually got some green candlesticks across the board here. Could be a sign of market saying, yay, interest rate cuts. That's probably the activity that you're seeing here. Yeah, interest rate sensitives trying to pop off a green over here. Bitcoin popping off a green. Wow, the Qs just ran up from 0.5% to about 1% up. So that was very enthusiastic. Markets really like that. Oh, they like that large candle. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We know that the service sector's been much stronger, and we now have 15 above 50. That's 15 above 50, but still a disappointment. 50.9, we're looking for number 52 or higher. And if we look at the composite, also the 15th consecutive month above 50, but also a weaker read, 50.9 on both services and composite. 50.9 is the weakest. Well, you have to go back to November of last year. So we are watching rates drop, but we have a 2-year note auction at 1 Eastern, the biggest ever at $69 billion. That's going to be something to pay attention to. Squawk on the Street will return after a short break.
Now. Yeah, that's really interesting. Markets are happy about that. Miss.
Forced ByteDance to divest
Oh
from
my
TikTok.
gosh. This is all they're going to talk about is TikTok over here? These people are freaking killing me. Come on, Doomburgers. Alright, so Cadence Design is down to 179 on the downside. Spotify's only up about 13 as opposed to the 15 we had before. Some of that euphoria has pushed Bitcoin to about 66.5. We started the morning at about 66, so you're up about $500 here. Not bad. Hop on over to Coin. What are you getting over at Coin? Nice little move up. You're over at 230 right now. Not bad. And when you look at Enphase, still getting sort of rejected by that 113 level. And Tesla, after those PMIs, really coming right back. So really trying to push right back here. Very nice. You've got, obviously, earnings today are going to be the driver of everything. But let's see here. Rally chasing fades as positioning becomes more conservative. The rally chasing that dominated trading at the start of the year has stalled as investors worry more about declining valuations and less about missing out. Volatility index has popped. Yeah, seen that. This is the slowest PMI expansion in 4 months, mind you. So I'm going to write this down. PMIs, we'll just sort of say miss across the board, slowest in 4 months. There we go. And again, that is a way of trying to send a dovish signal to the Fed. I'll say we'll send a dovish signal to Fed as long as inflationary numbers stay restrained, right? Otherwise you're at stagflation, bro. We don't want that crap. In fact, we start talking about stagflation, I'm gonna have to start pitching life insurance again. Make sure you get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes by going to metkevin.com/life. You can Apple Pay or Android Pay for it, and it's what Lauren and I use. Look at that now, reversal on the Qs. So it's like you got this like hopium there for a minute. Yay, lower PMIs. And now people are like, oh crap, what if it is stagflationary? Nuts. Yeah, look at that. BTC just gave up its $200. Yeah. Still nice recovery there though on Tesla from where it was. So we'll see what happens. Affirm's positive, amazing. You've got Nvidia down 1.6, and then where's ARM? Ooh, up about 3.8. Look at that, it's trying to get back to a hundo. Well, it's a full hundo. All right.
49.9 in the U.S., down from 51.9. That is the lowest.
They're just now reporting this?
Services PMI at 50.
We reported this 5 minutes ago.
Down from 51.7, the lowest since November. So we are seeing some weakness in the United States that we don't normally see in these indexes, at least compared to Europe. Europe earlier today was showing some weakness in manufacturing, but services ticked up. So this is having an impact in the bond market. As you can see, we've got the 2-year note gave up 6 basis points immediately and now has come back just a little bit. But the comparative interest rates in the two areas are going to make a difference to, it appears, to bond traders. And it'll be interesting going into the 2-year this afternoon, the auction, to see if this carries over.
Well, there is the immediate bond reaction, which is yields down. 4.95 is where we are on the 2 years. People are talking about a cheapening up at the concession. $69 billion worth of 2-year auction paper coming to the market. As you say, this is a little bit of a shock on the back of the April 8 PMIs. Mike, thank you very much. We'll get some sector price action now. It's a big day. Lots of sectors in focus, from autos through to travel. Abby, what have we got?
Well, not surprisingly, with the S&P 500 up about 0.6%, getting a boost off of those weak PMIs, up for a second day in a row. The best 2 days, Manus, surprisingly, in 2 months, up about 1.5%. So the selling.
Ooh, look at Tesla there. Tesla breaking up. Up now 1.2-ish%. The Qs aren't even doing as well on that recent run. And look at Enphase trying to break through that line right there. It's probably going to get magnetoed right back down, but we'll see. So Sherwin-Williams still down 4.2. Nvidia is not even pumping that much. It's up about 1.8. So Enphase really likes those softer numbers. Ooh, super microcomputer, 5.57%. Nice. So we're now waiting for really to see earnings. Earnings just drive everything today. But at least leading into it, does seem like you have an optimistic market. I mean, really probably no reason not to be optimistic. I mean, if you think about it, you got a dovish PMI print, and so far you don't really have horrid earnings. I mean, the bank earnings were a little sus, but other than that, I mean, Spotify beats, GM, Fiserv, UPS, Pepsi, all these beat. Sherwin-Williams and JetBlue with a miss, but otherwise, look at that. That's a nice little move there on Enphase. So nice trend up on Enphase. Same thing on Tesla right now. ARM's back at 4%. JetBlue's at about 11.3. Was down as much as 15% at the open. And Nvidia now at 811, so we'll watch that. Apple actually went positive. Meta's up another 2%. Here's Facebook, which has somewhat come off a little bit off of its peak there. Okie dokie. So let's see what else is being yapped about. Okay, dokie. Let's see here. Yields and dollar drop after PMIs. Ooh, did the yields start falling? Let me see. Ooh, they did. We just slipped down under 4.6 on the 10-year after that PMI miss. So you actually got a good amount of movement on that one reading there. Fascinating. Wild. Wild. Okay. Still moving on the Qs here. Still moving on Tesla and ENF as well. Both of these pushing. Embraer's back to positive. That makes sense, especially after Geo Aerospace is reported pretty positive here. So some good enthusiasm today. Look at that, 230 now on Coin. Yeah, and you're back to about 666 on BTC. So you had a brief little heart attack there. TMF, yeah, TMF should be moving after that yield drop. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. So that really started moving about 1 minute after the number reported. Yeah, look at that. That's about a minute after. Oh, we could have front run that because we knew here. Next time. All right. Well, so very well. Excited for earnings today. Obviously, I'll be covering earnings live. Let's see if we could get a little bit more news. Oh, let's see here. What else is news today? We have, U.S. business activity expands slowest pace in 4 months. That's pretty wild. Didn't think you would get that. Okay, let's do this. So Tesla's earnings are going to be at usually about 105. Tesla, so we'll do Tesla Q2 earnings live. Tesla stock. There we go. Okay, so we'll probably go live at like 1250, 1255 or so. Ooh, look at that pop in the Qs. You're now over 1%. It is rally mode before earnings, everyone. You better be in the market because it'll never go down again. That was your opportunity to buy the dip. Now it's gone. And you're screwed if you're not in now. That's the mainstream commentary you get on Twitter. Oh. Okay. So what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a little redirect. So when this live stream ends, you'll get a little pop-up, and it'll let you set a reminder on YouTube for the Tesla live stream. So I did that. And then you've got Polestar. No, nothing here. Just seeing Sunak commits to the UK spending 2.5% of GDP in the military. UPS profit tops, yep. But again, they missed on rev, but they beat on the adjusted EPS because likely an efficiency push. Inflation's last mile will test Powell. Yes, we've heard all that before. That is not news. Okay. Very well. Let's see here. Ooh, BTC 66.5. Slowing down a little bit there. So is Enphase. Slowing down a bit. Is that too much of a 27-minute like rally mode there? Everything got to relax a little bit. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But ARM's almost up 5% right now. Though it is getting a little bit of a red candle. Red bagger. Yeah, BTC forecasting a little bit of a resistance there. Double top on the minute chart. Yeah. All right. What's the biggest runner today? Let's take a peek at that. Probably Spot. Yep. Spot. Oh, you know we're risk on when Open Door's up 7%. That's when you know it's a risk on day. See, those are the days you sell. And then JetBlue's still down about 10. Sherwin-Williams down about 4.5. So, ooh, TMF or Tesla? Ooh, that depends. How much money do you want to lose? Oh. So, all right, I'm going to push the button now. Make sure to go to househack.com/2024 to sign up for the roadshow. And remember, investments are due by wire, don't ACH, next Wednesday. That's it. Closing the House Hack round. Just make sure you have your accredited investor letter. You get that over at househack.investready.com. Or just go to househack.com/2024. All the links are there. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services which we may benefit from. I personally operate an actively managed ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. All right. Time to make some coffee and hop on over to the course member live stream. Look at that, 2% on Tesla. Keep in mind, you're going to get a little redirect pop up if you're on YouTube, so go ahead and click that little remind button. See you soon.